welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who has not eaten a banana since watching Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. It's Adam Clement.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I don't like bananas. Fuck bananas.
I mean, that was a brutal death.
Yeah, it's a fan favorite. I remember a lot of people would use that as a GIF, even if they didn't really know that it was from a Friday the 13th movie.
We had to watch her eat the whole banana. Not the whole banana, but a third of the banana. Chewing and then swallowing, and then she gets stabbed, and then squishes the banana.
Yeah, there's a lot of gurgling involved, and it's also kind of, I don't know what the word is, if you're, like, discriminatory against people who may not be, like, total babes, but you get kind of reminded that, like, okay, so, like, if it were, like, a total hottie, right, eating a banana, maybe it would be different, but it's not. It's a sort of portly hippie girl, and it's pretty gross.
This movie features some very weird sound effects. There's a woman who gets stabbed in a raft, and she starts going, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
She made a decision, and she also got hypothermia.
Well, I don't know why your mind goes there first. When I see that scene in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, or as you mentioned, Part 4, well, okay, yes and no. So I know canonically the movies have been somewhat inconsistent, right?
His clothes are dry later, too.
But, like, okay, so in some movies he's afraid of the water, in some movies he's not. So clearly this movie, he's not. But what makes me wonder about that scene is that Jason would have had to have been underwater for at least a couple minutes, because the sequence is as such where she sort of approaches the water and takes her clothes off and sort of dives right in and swims out to the raft. Now, you're Jason, and you're underwater, and you're waiting. He would have had to have expected her to get into that raft, or into water, much less. So, he's waiting out there despite having drowned as a kid, and maybe in some other movies is scared of water. So, this is before he's like a full-fledged zombie, yet he has the foresight to anticipate this move. It's a little weird. It's a little odd.
He jawses her. He just comes from right underneath.
He does, and you don't really see him enter the water. So like I said, he's like camping out there for God knows how long. So apparently he can hold his breath, and he no longer can drown. I guess when you drown once, you can never drown ever again.
Makes sense.
Right.
Now, Adam, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to answer. I'm going to ask you some serious questions, and I want you to answer them seriously. Because during our Batman Forever podcast, I feel like you didn't give enough credence to my questions about Batman eating sandwiches before crime fighting. So on these, on this, you should listen to it. Adam, really, he dives, ducks, dips, dodges my questions. It's impressive.
I
Very
swerved.
impressive. He swerved. I mean, if we played chicken, you would have lost.
All right, Mark, I'll give you all the respect and diligence in your line of questioning as today's events unfolded in politics.
All right. So, in Friday the 13th, in Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, you can't say Friday the 13th, of course, but Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, why is Mahoney left to deal with cleaning up Jason when he was such a great shot?
So I'm actually very happy you asked this question, not for reasons that you probably want to hear. One of my problems with this movie is that there are so many stupid, silly secondary characters that I can't even keep track of, who the protag's name is, or anybody's name for that matter.
Steven.
So Steven, you're talking about the main guy, the glasses guy.
He's awesome. He saves the day 3 times, and Kane Hodder was a madman, and he let Steven tackle him through a window.
No, I'm going to touch on that in the other movie, but to your point about Steven,
spears him through a window, which that's nothing new because windows explode all over the Friday the 13th world.
Sure.
Steven spears Kane Hodder's Jason through a glass, obviously it's a glass window, but he spears him through a window. Steven is the man.
Okay. I mean, I was going to point out that he can hop over his hands in cuffs,
That's
which
gangster.
I thought was actually pretty smart move. But I don't know about spearing anybody into a glass. The way I saw it was he sort of rolled him into it. And actually, that fight right after is pretty embarrassing. They kind of fight on the jungle gym, and
Well, he's
Jason
trying to
kind
get
of
away
tosses
from him.
around. All right. Anyways, back to your point.
You know, the
Why?
production designer said that it took 5 people to put the jungle gym there, and Kane Hodder just flipped it by himself.
Well, yeah, that was pretty clear in the movie, but that's pretty sad that it took 5 people to arrange that. And why is there a jungle gym right outside the Voorhees house? Like, presumably Jason used it, but did kids like that really need a jungle? I don't know. It just seems a little out of place.
Kids got to train.
Right. Well, I guess it paid off.
Mahoney.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already swerving. You're already taking this.
I am, but I'm answering.
Off-ramp.
I plead the fifth. I don't know what you're talking about, but now I do. So you're back to your question about Mahoney, a.k.a. Steve.
No. Mahoney is the guy who is a great shot. So during the scene in the beginning when they blow up Jason.
They hit him with the squad.
Yeah, they hit him with over 100 bullets, and then a missile drops on him with pinpoint precision and 0 collateral damage. Explodes Jason. The boss of the FBI everyone's happy. But however, the boss looks at Mahoney and he says to him, "Nice shooting, Mahoney. Now clean up all this shit."
Okay, well, if you had opened with that, I might have followed easier. But yes, I guess you're pointing out the moment in the beginning, which I actually want to get back to in a minute. But yeah, so the camera is a first-person view. I guess the audience is the surrogate for Mahoney, or Mahoney is the surrogate for the audience, rather. And yeah, you're right. They do a number on Jason. He sort of explodes like a tank that gets too close to fire in GoldenEye 64. Because you don't really see the impact, right? You see him sort of explosion behind him, and he just sort of goes boom, boom. But I mean, I don't know who Mahoney is. I don't know what he looks like. Apparently, we are Mahoney for a hot second as the audience. And
we know he's a good shot.
We do.
Now, how does his boss know it? Because literally 1,000 bullets were shot at Jason. Well,
yeah, I think the coroner tries counting. He's like, well, it's a lot of bullets, so he doesn't really get into it. But
is Mahoney in trouble? Is he on the boss's bad list? Is the boss being passive aggressive?
You seem pretty happy with him. I don't know if that's entirely the case. We might be filling in too many of the details with our minds.
Now, Mahoney does a great job because Jason gets exploded at him. And when the coroner gets Jason, everything's there. So Mahoney really does a great job.
I think you're giving Mahoney way too much credit. You have to remember here how many people were shooting at Jason. Like a lot of guys. And then the guy's like, okay, great shooting, Mahoney. That's not confirmation that he had the kill shot. We're just talking about some dingling with a gun who happened to nail a few times wherever else on the body. So for all we know, some jackass threw a grenade out in the back and just happened to land a hit and blow Jason up. So I'm not convinced that this is all Mahoney's doing.
No, absolutely not. I'm just wondering why it's up to Mahoney to clean it all up.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Somebody had to take one for the team.
Is it just him?
That's a great question. I mean, there is a lot of mess, and I think if we're going to blame anybody for the ensuing chaos and the body hopping, I guess we can trace it back to patient 0, a.k.a. Mahoney.
Why didn't Mahoney eat the heart?
Well,
because he's the one who put it in a bag, presumably.
Yeah, so I think the heart stops beating for a little bit, and then by the time it's in the coroner's office, it starts back up again or something. I don't remember.
If I lived in this world, I would hire Mahoney. He's a crack shot, and he's very thorough in his serial killer cleanup.
You want to talk about hiring the right person for the job? Let's talk about the cold open, which I guess we still were, but even before that happens.
By the 23-year-old director.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about, we open on, A Babe in the Woods, classic cliche.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird. There's a few things that are off, and it's not just the setup with this, right? She's alone. Why she's alone, I don't know. But you get into that bathroom shot, and she's getting naked or whatever for the shower. What I love is the very obvious extensions in her hair. She takes her hat off, and it's holy shit, we know where the money went for this movie. It was in special effects and not hair and makeup. But I also wanted to ask you, I'm going to turn the tables on you here, Mark, with your absolute asinine questioning. She takes her jeans off, and she does it in such a way where she turns them inside out with her feet, one at a time. Who does this? Do you do this? Do you take your jeans off and let them sit on the floor, on the bathroom floor at that? Inside Out? That's weird to me.
Well, she's a special agent from the FBI. So everything she did there was prepped. She knew the lights were going to go out. She went to the shed. She got a ladder. She went through the mirror multiple times. She started the shower. She knew he was coming.
Okay.
So she wanted Jason to see her do that dumb thing. So then Jason's like, oh, her pants are inside out. She's easy prey. And then because of that, no, hear me out. And then Jason's like, okay, this lady's pants are inside out. She's crazy, right? She's eating stuffed crust pizza backwards. He sees her and he sees that. And he's like, this is easy. So then he lets his guard down. Instead of macheting her, he knocks her off the second floor onto a very convenient table, which allows her to run away. So her doing that was a strategic decision to lure Jason into thinking she was just another horror movie victim.
So you're not only assuming that she knew that he was watching her and would be discriminatory enough to go after her as a result of her incompetence in taking her jeans off.
Yes.
But that he would show up when he did. I don't know. It's a stretch. But I'm asking you.
In the second film, he does that, though. In the second film, he has a cat jump through a window, opens up a window, then times her opening up a refrigerator with a head. So Jason's timing is pretty amazing.
That's fine. I'm just asking you if you or anybody else you know takes their jeans off like that, because it bothered me a great deal.
I'm sure I have. I have never thought about it in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is, I wear Jinko jeans, and that's it. So, I mean, those things, it's impossible to pull them inside out.
How could I forget? That's obviously what you wore in college.
I could jump out a plane, and they're like a parachute.
Parachute pants, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, she should have thought about that, but I guess jeankos weren't really a thing in 1993.
Oh, they were totally a thing in 93, weren't they?
I don't know. I mean, I was born in 87, and I felt like they had their day in the sun in the mid to late 90s, but you might know more than I do. This seems like that they contribute to the signature brand of sort of awkward aesthetics, right? Like things are very grimy or sleazy, but they're also super awkward, and I don't know if that's by virtue of the direction, which, as you pointed out, Adam Marcus was literally a first-time director at 23. But like, even when you get to the TV report after the coroner scene, right, with American Case File, and they're showing B-roll video that happened literally just scenes before this happened. Like, yeah, they definitely had news crews in to the coroner's office to get photos and video of the actors right before they were totally dispatched. It's just such a weird, obvious expository move. And a lot of movies do this, but it just stuck out like a sore thumb in this movie.
And speaking of the newscasters, there's a scene where the guy goes back to Jason's house with the dead body, and he says, I want to have body parts in the fridge.
Yeah, and it's super sleazy.
And then they go, how are you going to make that happen? And then he goes, just talk to Harry in props. Now,
oh no.
You can't make that happen that quickly. And who is Harry?
I knew you were going to go that route. I mean, the unresolved mystery of Jason Goes to Hell is who is Harry from prompts.
It seems like Harry is that good that someone can just expect him to bring body parts to the Voorhees house in a jiffy.
Well,
and this is a news network.
I was more nonplussed with the admission after that, where she was like, oh, I banged her daughter. And I'm just going to make it happen, because like that news reporter dude is having a relationship thing with Jason's.
He's a skis ball.
Total skis ball. So I have no problem seeing him get like wrecked when Jason takes over his body.
Yeah, but what about Harry?
I don't know anything about Harry. We know nothing about Harry. Harry might as well be Mahoney.
Do you think they're brothers?
I mean, they could be the same person. If we're talking about somebody to have body parts at the ready. I mean, think about it.
So you're saying Mahoney is Harry, and he moonlights as a prop guy. So maybe he, as an FBI agent, he works one day on, one day off. And on his off time, he works as a prop master at a news channel, which doesn't need many props.
Yeah, I mean, I was just assuming it was convenient because, you know, if he was at the scene of the crime where all Jason's body parts were hanging out, he would have some appropriate body parts at the ready for any time that a news program as sleazy as American Case File needed to plant evidence.
I feel like if Mahoney consistently didn't bring in a limb, the reports would get noticed.
Yeah, perhaps. Hard to say.
I love hearing you go along with this, Adam. There's so many other things I can tell you want to talk about.
I mean, yeah, let's wind it back.
All right, let's get back to Mahoney.
Bit.
Let's go back to Mahoney. All right, so Mahoney, I feel like he graduated probably 4th in his class at Quantico.
At Quantico. You think he went to Quantico?
Yeah, and then he transferred. And he probably has a criminal justice degree, but he's more of a tactician.
I mean, you're assuming because I have no idea what his role in that shootout was.
And why did they wait for Jason to go to the house and just not catch him on the way to the house?
Well, you're right. They set up that big, like, floodlight area, and I think they just wanted to be able to, like, shoot all of their guns all at once, which you might remember better than I do. Maybe Mahoney was the guy who did this one, but when Jason gets, sort of, deer in headlights with the floodlights, I feel like somebody gets a shot in right in his forehead.
Yeah, when the woman who's running away does a baller summer slip.
Oh, that's right.
This guy
pops
up.
Shot. It's the first shot.
Pops up and just caps him right between the eyes.
Do we not know that's not Mahoney?
I bet you that was Mahoney, and the guy saw that, and then that's Mahoney.
I think you're right. I think that's probably the most logical leap we can make if we're guessing who's who here.
I gotta tell you something, Adam. I worked on film sets for many years, and to have enough power to power those gigantic lights, you would need a generator running, and generators are loud, and you would have to have a truck to bring that out there, and a lot of cable. So not only FBI guys, but you would need electricians, and they also had sandbags for those lights.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was an operation that was very loud.
Oh, see, I thought you were going to go ahead and say, Jason, there's no way he would have not known it was a trap because he would have heard it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, Homeboy already has one eye only, and God knows what else has been done to his fucking face and head, so it's probably a safe assurance that he's probably not working with every utility at 100%.
So you think he got so focused on her genes that he didn't notice the lights being set up?
If we're going to take your brand of logic, yeah, I think that's a safe assumption. He was so caught up and angry with the way in which she undressed. And perhaps that's us cracking the motive all along, that Jason's he's not even upset that they're taking their clothes off. He's not even upset that they're horny. He's upset because they're doing it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, they're just, like, when they go skinny dipping, they just throw their stuff on the sand. You're supposed to fold it.
Right? And hey, who's to say that the worst crime of all is putting your clothes on the bathroom floor? Because that's gross.
Yeah, that's bad. Especially that house.
Yeah, that was probably not given a whole lot of tender love and care before she got there.
So if you're listening, you're probably knowing that we're talking about Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, and Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. So this is your idea. Wait, Adam, real quick. I stopped myself to ask you a question. So if I posited these theories on a Friday the 13th board online, what would people think?
Oh, goodness. Well, you're talking about a culture that's sort of on its way out or long expired. I remember the Friday the 13th movies, official Paramount, I think, owned the stake in it, at least for most of them, and they had a pretty active message board that was always in contention with the Ultimate Halloween message board, but that's neither here nor there. I suppose if you brought it to them, they'd probably laugh their asses off because, and no disrespect to my own kind, but a lot of the Friday fans were a very signature brand of fan. They were very, how do I say?
Slasher fans?
Not even. They were a different breed. So, like, I feel like Halloween is pretty diverse, especially now more than ever. But man, you talk to the hardcore Friday the 13th fans, Jason fans, a lot of them are pretty rural. Not a bad thing, but they tend to be, a little bit more Midwestern for whatever reason. So I think you take that sensibility with you when you're talking to a board full of rabid Friday fans. And I don't know if that's evolved any, but yeah, back in my day, that's sort of the experience that I encountered.
I gotta tell you something. I guess we can go back to Friday the 13th Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. We can kind of get back on that. I like it more than I like 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would probably agree with you. And it's hard because each of them has a mess of pros and cons. But yeah, I think that's a fair call.
I in in Friday the 13th Part 2, Jason just sits in the woods and stares at people a lot.
Mm,
It's
yeah, and he's kind of rapey in that one too,
yeah, it's
isn't he?
gross.
Because
I,
there is one of the final girls, if not the final girl, I believe she alludes to a time where she was chased in the woods by Jason. And I don't know if that's 2 or 3. It's either one of them. And yeah, there's like some sort of hint at a sexual assault. And we obviously didn't kill her because she's recounting it in a flashback. But yeah, it was sort of the first glimpse that Jason like had those types of anxieties, I suppose.
and 4 he just kills.
Yes, and that's actually what I wanted to point out with 4. When we say part 4, of course, we're talking about the final chapter, which, of course, is a misnomer, as was the final Friday. I guess we'll get that out of the way. Both were completely fake, fraudulent titles. But yeah, part 4, a lot of these sort of oscillate between suspense and gratuitous sex. I do feel like the pacing in the franchise is terrible, as fun as these movies are. And when I watch part 4, as you pointed out, it does feel a little porny compared to the others because you're not getting as much filler or quote unquote story, which you can laugh all you like about that, but it is very squarely like if the scene is not horror, it's kind of horny teens. If the scene is not horny teens, it is horror. It's not a bad thing, but it's very obvious in this movie.
What, part 4?
Yeah, so like I just think that there's a more committed effort to flesh out a quote unquote story, which, let's be real, they all lack. But in this movie, I think they were going for the fences and trying to give people what they wanted. So it is very like, again, find me a scene, right? Find me a scene that's not including Joe the rando woodsman or Corey Feldman and his family. Every other scene is either horny teens and porny or like, straight up quote unquote horror, exploitation, violence.
At one scene, Crispin Glover says, "God, I'm horny." Then another guy says, "Sex is a great way to meet new people." And I want to tell you, so I normally don't like horror movies that introduce unlikable people then kill them. I don't really like the whole let's murder everybody. I like when they're a little bit redeemable, but that coroner in the beginning of part 4, the final chapter,
right,
when he's eating the sandwich and he's talking about how a deceased woman,
necrophiliac. He's a necrophiliac.
Is disgusting. And I guess that was the point. But the beginning of the movie, he's one of the worst characters of film I've ever seen. Talks about how a dead woman is attractive. He puts a sandwich on a body. He smacks very loudly. And then he watches jazzercise videos while in the morgue.
Yeah, that jazzercise video is rather porny too. There's a lot of like rouge and makeup, but I like that this is where our conversation has led us. We talked about the greatest villains and despicable characters in cinema history. We've got Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and we've got like, Adolf Hitler or whatever, and then we've got the coroner from Part 4 of Friday the 13th because he put a sandwich. Yeah, he is. He's a necrophiliac. He's hinting at like fucking a dead body, which is disgusting. But that's my point. Earlier, I was mentioning like everybody in these movies, there's so little and lacking of likability and humanity. And I think it's by design because you kind of don't care. It's a sport. You're seeing these people get killed and offed and you feel good about it. You revel in it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all these people need to be completely deplorable.
The one thing that I think makes this movie work is Crispin Glover's portrayal as Jimmy, because it is weird.
I mean, you're just saying that he's being Crispin Glover, which is true.
And it's perfect. And I liked his buddy that he was with. Like, I didn't like that whole conversation about calling him like a, whatever, this will get us our PG-13, to call him like a dead fuck on his computer. But that gag comes back later. He's like, I don't know, why don't you look at your computer? But
I like the computer bit. Yeah. I'll defend that.
And I guess that was improvised. That's pretty funny. And they went with that. But between these two guys, I felt like they had a sense of humor about them. They were... When Crispin Glover, I didn't know that I thought he was going to be like the final guy, Crispin Glover, for some reason. Because they spent a lot of time with him. And when he got corkscrewed, I was shocked. Corkscrew! I did not see that coming. And I loved it.
Where to start? So yeah, see, I wonder about in the timeline of Crispin Glover being Crispin Glover, in his rise to fame and cult favor, that where he was in this, because this was before his Marty McFly thing, I think. Maybe, I forget, or not Marty McFly, excuse me.
Yeah, before.
The father, before. But yeah, the dance he does obviously is iconic. And I agree with you, his interactions with Teddy Bear, despite them being completely sleazy. And it's something that we don't get from a whole lot of other Friday movies. But I do like the way he was killed, because he hams it up in such a way, right? He's just gotten lucky with one of the Babe twins. He's trying to celebrate with presumably wine or champagne. He's, Tad, where's the corkscrew? He just goes, Tad. And it's just such a Crispin Glover affectation. And of course, what happens, he's screwed again, right, with the corkscrew. And then there's a reverse shot. I know they had to film it with the cleaver to the face, which I think this movie, and I'll say it now, I was going to mention earlier, this movie actually got a lot of stuff cut because of the MPAA, which was no fan or friend of the franchises at the time.
Or slashers. So, they were really nailing slashers, yeah.
You're right. At the time, they were pretty hard on it. But this movie a few of the Friday movies got hit hard. This one in particular, I don't know how you watched it, but I have the unrated on Blu-ray. It is a difference. I mean, you're talking about a number of different kills that got way gorier. Even the coroner in the beginning, not the coroner, excuse me, the male nurse. With the sort of saw to the head, and the shower scene later, as we'll talk about. But that scene with Crispin, I believe that they hang on for another second with more blood effects. So yeah, I knew he was going to die, and I love his performance in it, because it's just so unabashedly goofy, and it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Corkscrew!
Yeah.
Now, Jason, right? He is very movable. And so a lot of people think of Jason as this hulking, walking, lumbering figure. But in this movie, he runs, and he climbs up on the second floor window of a home to pull one of the twins out and throw her on a car. And then he swims underwater. He shoots a guy with a spear gun right in the balls.
Yeah, there's some pretty gnarly kills. It's weird that you pointed out the twin being thrown out the window. There are literally, I counted, and I thought it was just me at first. There are 3 different window breaking scenes. The twin is the first. Then, inexplicably, Gordon the dog sees Jason, presumably, and decides to just bolt. So the dog's out of there. And then the third, the final girl, right, who I am no fan of. She was annoying as hell. But you're talking about 3 different characters in this movie who are either thrown through or jump through glass windows. And it's just like, all right, the effect is starting to lose out. It's a law of diminishing returns. So I just thought that was really weird for a movie that was really swinging for the fences.
So for me, I liked Trish Jarvis because she put up a fight. She was trying to get her brother shaving his head while she's dealing with a life and death situation. But I don't know, as a character, no, but I like the grit that she put up with at the end.
I think it's obvious she had grit because she's sneering in every other scene. She's like, and
I loved when she stabbed him through the hand.
Yeah, that's a great effect.
That was a good bit. And then she also hits him in the head with a hammer. I don't know. I appreciate
several times.
Yeah, she put up a fight, and I kind of dug that about her. Right. And then also homeboy Rob, he's killing me.
Yeah, he was completely useless. I call him Woodsman Joe. You can call him Rob. That's probably his real name. But yeah, he shows up and he's kind of like the future, Tommy Jarvis proto version for the time being. But he's just like, this woodsman hunk who shows up randomly to help figure out what Jason's up to. And sure enough, he's dispatched as easily as he appeared, and he's in the dark. You don't even see anything. But your point, he's like, oh, he's killing me. That sounds like a chump way to go.
He actually took that from a real story when someone was being attacked, and the guy was like, he's attacking me! And so he used that in the movie.
Yeah, well, it didn't work out too well for him, did it?
I mean, he got hacked. He got hit a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't see any of it either, which was a very weird, wild choice. And I guess you could make the argument that maybe the MPA stepped in and there was some other footage that they had shot, but it just leads to me to believe like they wanted us to be, oh, we don't know what happened in the dark. That's very scary. And this Hitchcock logic of like what you don't see makes it scarier. But like the scene is very lazy and I don't know. It's just kind of goofy that he would go out the way he did.
Now, the one thing I want to know if you noticed. So Trish is in a house and she's trying to escape. And then you have Crispin Glover nailed to a door, right?
Yeah, crucifix style.
But then one of the twins is just laying in front of the door.
It's not like she couldn't have vaulted right over that.
She could have hurdled her.
Well, that's my point about Trish. She's kind of a wuss.
And then she busts through a window instead.
Yeah, that's final girl logic. That's perfectly encapsulated in that sequence.
So, do we believe in this world that dead twins put off a force field that you can't jump past?
Boy, that's some kind of logic leap for even you. I guess what we can assume is that Trish is a vampire, and the twin had garlic on her.
Oh.
That's my theory.
Have you ever watched the movie Dracula Dead and Loving It?
Oh, absolutely. I used to adore that movie as a kid.
Wait, used to? Ooh, garlic.
Before I knew better.
No way. Nobody ever knows what I'm talking about, but I'm like, ooh, a raspberry. A raspberry. Oh, it's a raspberry. Are you eating a spider? No, I love that movie. Oh my gosh.
Peace, Leslie Nielsen.
I love that movie. After watching the original Dracula, like 31, and then watching that, it makes a lot more sense. So I have some questions for you here before we forget about them, because this is as good as time as any. And so some questions we have are, was Crispin Glover a dead, I don't want to get an R rating, so a dead effer?
I think the easy answer is no. I mean, he's obviously scored with the twin, right? And then he brought her panties out as a victory trophy. So I think that pretty much cements his status. And she even tells him, right? He asks very anxiously, and he gets his confirmation. I think that he's redeemed.
Good. All right. I'm
going to go back, though, because he is technically a dead F because he was killed.
Yeah, he gets corkscrewed.
I guess if you want to be punny, there's your answer. But I think in bed he succeeds.
Good. Now, I know the answer to this, but how did Tommy Jarvis know what little kid Jason looked like enough to cut his hair? And he found the newspaper clipping from Rob. And he put it up on his window, and he cut his hair like that on his mirror. Did you see that scene?
I sure did. I think the bigger question is what is the brain of a boy like Tommy Jarvis that understands child psychology quickly enough to make the snap decision to go upstairs, emulate Jason in appearance, and speak to him as if he's looking at his child self? I don't know what that says about Tommy Jarvis, although I think the sequel right after that with Part 5 pretty much tells us everything we need to know. But that was what was on my mind, and I was just very dumbfounded by this.
I mean, he does create beautiful like monsters, heads, and prosthetics.
I want to talk about that. And also, when I was rewatching this movie,
and he's a mechanic.
I remember early in the movie, his mother, Corey Feldman's mother in the movie, she at one point has a throwaway line that's like, "Oh, you need a haircut," and I'm thinking, why is this in the movie? It makes no sense. His hair is okay. It's like every other 80s child's movie haircut. And sure enough, by the time he gets his at the end where he cuts his hair and shaves it off, I'm like, that's why.
Chekhov's haircut.
Yeah, something like that. But to your point about the masks, now I love the fact that Tom Savini came back for this movie. He was like, all right, I helped create this beast. Literally, I'm going to come back for the last. And everybody knows Tom Savini. He's the legend. He's just like the best guy out there for makeup and special effects. So when he came back, I couldn't help but think that this was his just way of flexing, right? Like, yeah, these are all my masks. I made this. Now, that's fine and dandy. It's obvious fan service. But we're talking about like a 7-year-old kid maybe coming up with the abilities to make these. Like, okay, not only is Tommy Jarvis adept at child psychology, but he is so crafty and talented that he's making Hollywood tier special effects masks. Like, get the fuck out. Get out of here with that.
He's a classic precocious child.
That's pushing it, man. I don't know.
You watch these movies.
Like prodigious.
Precocious children have been in cinema forever.
Absolutely. And they're a staple in horror, but there's a difference between precocious and prodigious.
So why not? Why can't he be prodigious?
I mean, I guess so.
According to the movie logic, right?
Right. Can I just say I also loved that little bit of him in bed oogling hornily at that couple as they're getting freaky across the way. It's just like, it's so weird, but at the same time, it's like, this is actually a weird, tender moment where you could see a kid his age being like goofy as shit, rolling around in his like bed, getting excited over this. It's an awkward thing, which goes back to my earlier statement, but it's oddly sincere, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, it rings true.
Yeah.
Now, last question. Who is better at asking a fellow party guest to dance? Crispin Glover in this movie or Rick Moranis in Ghostbusters?
I gotta give it to Crispin. I think they're both equally awkward, but he clearly scored, right? Rick Moranis got what? A demon dog crashing his party?
Yeah.
Didn't really work out for him.
I loved the confidence of Rick Moranis, though, in that. There was
It
zero...
is, yeah.
When he says it...
There's no anxiety.
Yeah.
Crispin has the anxiety.
Yeah.
Not Rick.
Rick... I gotta go with Rick, because that demon dog wrecked it. And plus, you gotta remember, he struck out with the twin, too, and she just went back to him because that one guy went to go back to his girlfriend. So it wasn't his dancing.
I don't know. She was laughing pretty hard, and girls love a guy who's funny.
Yeah, that dancing. I mean, it was a wonderful acting decision, but I don't know. I just loved the confidence of Rick Moranis in that scene. He just... and he had some decent little moves, too.
Oh, totally. I think the nerdy guys are the best dancers because dancing, well, there's many different types of dancing, but I'm a big believer that if you dance like you don't give a shit about who's watching, then you're probably having a good time, and that shows.
Now, Rick Moranis, his dancing wasn't, it was good. I don't know. The other dancing I felt was a little actory, right? A decision. But Moranis felt very organic.
Okay.
I loved it. I dance like that at parties. I haven't danced in
that
years.
I would love to see. Was that going to be part of your Patreon content if you start up tiered memberships? Is unlocking the video of Mark dancing like Rick Moranis in Ghostbusters?
Every month, I'm gonna unleash a 3-minute clip of me just dancing.
I'd sign up
for $1. $1 a month.
That's my $1 tier Patreon subscription.
I would do it. I would take it seriously. I would learn the moves. I could do it. I
believe you.
I think I should. That's how I make my fortune.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
This is my last point I want to definitely drill down into because it's bothering me a lot. When does this movie take place? Don't think too hard on it.
You mean
that's my point. That's my point. If you don't think too hard on it, you can't really tell. What day does this take place? I'll tell you why that's important.
Isn't it later than what it should have been?
That's my point. So look, the pacing in this movie, true to the franchise, is horrible. Not just in editing, but in pacing. So, right, we end that scene where he awakes in the morgue, and it's suddenly. And by the way, let me backtrack a little bit. Up to this point, Jason has drowned in the first movie. He has been sliced in the chest and in the head with a machete. He's been hanged. In part 3, he ends up getting hanged.
Yeah.
And that is actually, for your listeners, the proper term for hanged. It is not hung. So, remember that.
But you can say hung if you want, guys. It's okay.
It's wrong. I'm telling you here, it's wrong. Anyways, my point is, he's gone through all this, right? And he does this. He lashes out and kills on his birthday, Friday the 13th, right? So when he comes to at that morgue, and suddenly we jump to inexplicably 2 women, right, jogging through the woods in the daytime. We don't know what day it is. Could it be a year later? Could it be a day later? Come to find out through some puzzling my part, it is, I think, the day after. Now, my point is, if he comes out on his birthday, by and large, he's cheating, right? Did he cheat? Because this is Saturday the 14th.
Yeah.
And what annoys me is about these movies is like they don't care to illustrate what day it is, like Halloween. Halloween, for all its faults, always does a good job of saying, okay, this is October 30th. This is when he's getting out of the mental institution. They're right here. We are at October 31st. This is the day he's going to do all of his stuff. It's very concentrated, and it doesn't take a title card, right? It just takes some exposition. Somebody says the date. I don't know. But yeah, I'm wondering, man, this final chapter didn't end well for him. Maybe it's because he picked the wrong fucking day.
How long has Rob been hunting him?
That's another great question. We don't know. He heard about this on the news? I guess that's my lowest hanging fruit. I assume that he saw the news report, the same one that they put on in the hospital. Maybe he sprung into action. We don't know. But he looks like a guy with determination who's been on the hunt for a while. Yeah.
He looks like Roddy Piper, the cheap version of Roddy Piper from They Live.
He looks like a dime store Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper would have whapped out Jason easily.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty quick contest.
John Nada would have destroyed him. And I have a They Live podcast coming out before this one, so you should listen to the They Live podcast that we released.
Yeah, do that.
It's very good.
Stop listening to this one, pause it, go back and listen to that one, and then you can continue.
All right, and we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have listened to the They Live podcast, and we'll just talk about the rest of the movies of just about They Live. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks, and that was in no way a clumsy way to jump into the break, was it, Adam?
No, I got my viewing in of They Live, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Ooh, so all right. So in the podcast, which you can listen to, I recorded with my good friend Norbert. We used to watch it once a month when I lived in Korea, and he and I would watch it, and we had a full discussion about what kind of gum John Nada would chew, and we go in depth into the gum chewing, and we pick a gum. You have to listen to the podcast that we feel encapsulates his character.
I'm gonna go ahead and venture a guess.
What?
Big League Chew.
No, not even close.
Oh my goodness! I guess I got to re-listen to that pod.
What do you think about me, Adam?
I mean, I took a shot. It was a leap.
Oh man, you know what's funny is you and I are two adults in our 30s.
Yes, I'm an adult.
And when you said Big League Chew, I got annoyed.
You got annoyed? Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry for taking an educated guess.
But that's so bad, though. I should not be getting annoyed. I was like, Big League Chew? What are you talking about?
Well, you ain't chewing orbits.
All right, I'm going to say it. I'm going for it. All right?
Okay, go for it.
Here's what it is. Spearmint. 5-pack. 15 cents. He doesn't have much money. Easy to carry. He doesn't like Bubblicious. Too fancy. He doesn't like Double Mint because he doesn't like 2 mints. But if it was double spearmint or double mint, he would go with double mint. But since it's just spearmint and in an inexpensive pack, that's what he gets.
Mark, I hate to rain on your parade, but does the quote not infamously go, I'm all out of bubblegum?
John Nada doesn't care. He probably, some people call soda pop. Some people call it dinner supper.
Okay, but you're calling him a liar now.
He is not getting those individual packs of gum that you have to chomp on and chewing that. I'm not
saying he is. I'm saying his preferred flavor is bubblegum. He seems like a brand.
He seems like a very spearmint bubblegum. That's a gum. You can blow bubbles with spearmint gum.
Mark, you're telling me that there exists a brand either now or in the past that is both hybrided bubble and spearmint.
Bubblegum is gum and gum is bubblegum.
Okay, so you're taking the position that like mom says, "What you play? Are you playing Nintendo again?"
Yes.
Like Kleenex is a tissue for everything. Like every brand is Kleenex.
Yeah, I live in the South. We drink Coke. I don't drink Coke,
right. But AKA Tab.
Everything is Coke. All my family in Iowa, they all say, "Do you want a pop?" And that means Mountain Dew. So he is calling bubblegum. Just, he's thinking of something. He wasn't thinking. And I think...
See, I was thinking of somebody who is a bit more brand loyal. I see John Nada and I think that guy, he's a slugger type. He's an All-American. He's chewing what the baseball players do.
Why? But I don't... See, that just means he's got a thing. And he doesn't have a thing in that. He never pledges allegiance to anything in this movie.
Okay,
he's just
that's
happy
fair.
to work.
That's fair. He's anti-capitalist. He doesn't want to consume... He's not brand loyal. You're right. I stand corrected.
I think he's just happy with a spearmint. He'll take a stick of gum. I think he's more in a stick of gums than he is an individual wrapped gum or a bag of Big League Chew that you have to wrap up and then you got to take too much and then it's so sweet for like 30 seconds and you want to puke and then you want to spit it out and put more in your mouth. It's just a vicious circle of sugar that you're consuming.
I'm okay with whatever gum he may nominate. I think as long as it's not like... Think of an example of modern day John Nada, right? He's a conspiracy theorist wearing sunglasses, carrying around a bunch of guns, and he's a white man. You best believe he's not chewing bubblegum. He's got skull going on. He's got like chewing tobacco, and he probably listens to Alex Jones. So, you know what? After everything, I'm okay with whatever gum he decides to chew.
But see, he wasn't a conspiracy theorist until he latched on to the conspiracy. So I don't think we can say his character is a conspiracy theorist.
Okay, fine, fair. I'm just saying a modern iteration of his character would probably not go over quite as coolly, if you catch my
Hey,
drift.
don't use "they live" to push your political leanings, Adam. Even
Right,
though the
'cause
movie
that's
is
me.
political,
That's right. Carpenter is always a very staunch defender of the movie being a very political statement.
and he doesn't like when certain people use it, for instance, neo-Nazis, to push their agendas, and he'll tweet about
Hey,
it.
I'm not saying that's what I was alluding to,
Hey,
but
you and your
you just
bubblegum.
kind of did.
I don't think you've watched They Live, because you're saying he was a conspiracy theorist when he just stumbled upon one. He was
Mark,
an unwitting observer
are you
to a
telling me that
conspiracy.
I've watched They Live with the wrong glasses on or without the right glasses?
I think I think so. I think you watched them with, let's see, what are some good glasses? You know those glasses that you get when your eyes get dilated and you have to put them over them? And then you put those over some sunglasses. That's what you're watching They Live on.
Truly wild. My eyes are open now.
Oh, just take them off so you can see.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes things easier.
Did we just have a fight?
No, I think you just awakened my mind.
Good. Are you coming back to this podcast?
As long as I'm invited, Mark.
All right, so let's talk about Jason Goes to Hell. And I just want to ask you, how old is Steve?
I love that question because I was going to ask you the same thing. And these movies have a patterned history, right, of casting people who are in their, mid to late 20s, early 30s, posing as teenagers. And Steve is a wonderful example because here you got a guy who looks
45.
dorky as all hell and has, your dad's glasses on and this ridiculous Letterman jersey that just screams, "Hello there, fair children. What's going on?" He might as well be skating in every scene and doing an ollie off a rail because it's just like so desperately juvenile. But you're right. I don't know. I think he's supposed to be in his early 20s because, right, he's a young father who obviously is no longer married, but he's still fraternizing with younger kids. Well, maybe not younger kids, older teenagers, I'll put it that way. Because I think that one girl does come on to him early on in the movie. But yeah, I would have to assume that he's at least playing a character who's in his mid to early 20s. That's my guess.
See, I felt like he was a 30-something-year-old dude, and I don't know why he was wearing that. But I'm telling you, man, he's an action hero, and he's an action hero. He does more work than infamous and famous bounty hunter Creighton Duke.
Yeah, Creighton is kind of a weird, wasted character in a lot of ways. He has his moments, but when you talk about him versus Steve definitely gets a lot more done. I think I told you before, but I think I'm more impressed with the fact that he can hop over his wrists and cuffs than anything else.
That was really slick. When I saw that scene, I went, whoa.
Right, because he doesn't only do that, right? He's got a gun on him from his buddy cop friend, and he slips out of the cuffs, chucks his elbow in front of that guy's head and totally gets away scot-free, and then takes a gun to Jason. It's a very action sequence, to your point. It is almost uncharacteristically action-y because you got this series of movies
Terminator-esque.
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah, really. That corridor sequence definitely echoes back to T2, but my point is it's very uncharacteristic and unbecoming because this franchise is really built on victims being picked apart easily by Jason with really nobody standing up to him until you're talking about the final girl, in which case she's got a fire poker or something.
Yeah, and then she stabs him with a magical dagger.
Yes, the magical dagger, the one that would do it where nothing else would.
But I gotta tell you, I just want to talk about Steve a little bit more. Yeah. I love that he's always afraid in the situations, but he doesn't back down. So that character rings true to me. He's not an action hero, but he wants to protect his family. Even when that girl hits on him, he's like, no, I got other things to do.
He's trying to get his baby.
Yeah, and he's just you don't know why they broke up, but he just seems to. He's out of his league, but these are my favorite characters, like Jack Burton. They're out of their league, but they hang in there. Yeah,
they're in over their head. And I think that's a good point because it makes me wonder, how good is his ex-wife's judgment of character if she's hanging out with the sleazy American case file reporter dude who's talking about effing her and using her mom's house as, some exploitive news report when she could have a guy like Steve who can clearly get out of sticky situations and thwart Jason.
By all accounts, he's a good man.
Do you think they got together again after putting Jason in his place? Because I feel like that gets you some major points with the ladies.
Absolutely. And I think he maybe gained some confidence. Maybe he didn't have a lot of confidence with her. And then so she was kind of led away by the very confident jerk. So he seemed like the nice guy, but through his altercations of spearing Kane Hodder through a glass window, because Kane Hodder notoriously played this role. He wouldn't look down. He would never look silly. This is a guy who wanted Jason to have the upper hand at all moments, and he let Steve tackle him through a window.
He let it happen. It's also bizarre that we aren't really addressing the elephant in the room here. And by elephant in the room, I mean the literal gremlin monster creature that scurries about after, exiting the bodies of its host. Jason very much is seen as this wild, spermy cretin that shrieks and just sort of scampers around until it finds a host. And it's like, do I really want to associate this iconic slasher with this morbid, tiny, like you could step on it and kill it type threat? I don't know. It's a very bizarre logic that they even pitched this premise, but I give them credit for trying. It's bold, at least.
I mean, I like this. I don't rate this movie. Well, yeah, I do. It's not good.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, though. What makes this movie watchable for me, I think this is one of the more... I would watch this ahead of the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one.
Really?
Because it's just that you have Creighton Duke, right? And I know you want to talk about him. They're like, so when we ask you about Jason, what do you think? I think about a little girl in a yellow dress and a hot dog going through a hot dog going through a donut.
Yeah.
He's breaking fingers for no reason. He breaks Steve. Steve doesn't even worry about he spears Kane Hodder through a window with broken fingers. He's snapping fingers.
He's a textbook sadist, yeah.
He gets killed by a bear hug. And for some reason, he has captured 6 of the most notorious serial killers ever. And when he comes to town to capture a serial killer, everybody tells him to get away.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, he's a really interesting character. And I also don't appreciate the Deus Ex Machina that takes his character out, because he falls through a random like floorboard in the home, and he's like slightly incapacitated before he gets bear hugged to death. So I was like, wow, that's super uninteresting, and thanks for your help, I guess. But even going back to his intro, like he's this prize bounty hunter, right? And I would have loved to have seen Tommy Jarvis in this role instead, right? He's a psychotic survivor. He's been training for that day, right? Almost like Laurie in the new Halloween. Like he's been waiting to get his rematch with Jason.
Listen to our podcast Halloween too. Adam's on it.
Yeah, I'm on it.
He screams at me during it because we had an argument.
I got mad. But like, I don't know. I feel like Creighton Duke is an interesting character. I would have preferred a Tommy Jarvis in the role. It would have felt more like a homecoming. But at any rate, this sounds unorthodox. I'm really glad that Creighton Duke is black, because you're talking about a bounty hunter type who dresses like that. He wears a trench coat and a hat like that. He talks a lot of shit to women, especially like that. He's espousing about, taking people's women like that.
Oh, yeah, he does do that.
At the diner. And, if this guy was white, I'd sort of think he would, I don't know, maybe he's a little neckbeardy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's one of those nice guys. So, yeah, I think in retrospect, for a culture that sort of it comes after this movie, it is fortunate that he's not some cringy white dude who thinks he can take down Jason, because that's just preposterous. But he has a gravity to him, right? He talks and he's real smooth. So I do like his character overall. I do take issue, however, that he somehow understands right off the bat in that news report you mentioned that he knows about this supernatural body hopping so early on in the movie, and there is no evidence, zero evidence whatsoever in prior films or any context that's new to the audience to explain this, besides like the coroner that went mad and ate a heart like the day or night before. Like that's the only evidence we have. What could possibly have informed him that this body hopping thing was Jason's MO? Because he's kind of right on the money, but we have no idea why.
He's Creighton Duke.
All right. Well, I'm convinced now. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Yep, Creighton
for this
knows.
for this academic discussion, drilling down as to how Creighton Duke is all-knowing and just completely understands Jason's.
It's Creighton Duke.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if there's two writers on this movie. I wonder if one of them went to Creighton and the other one went to Duke.
Interesting. I mean, there's always the opportunity. There's always there's always.
Wait, I wanted to tackle that one. You just said it was interesting.
What? That one person named him Creighton and the other person named him Duke.
Yep. Wait, what if one was a Michael Crichton fan and the other one was a fan of John Wayne?
That they named him the Duke for that reason?
Yep.
I don't know. I just kind of thought it was a really masculine.
I know. I'm just
badass name.
Now, we love Creighton Duke. He's a little mishandled, but a lot of things are mishandled in this movie. And there's one thing that you really wanted to touch upon was that Jason has the wrong eye covered in this film.
So I wasn't positive, but I'm just. It happens to be that we're talking about the end of part 4, right? When Tommy Jarvis takes the machete to Jason, right? And there's that very famous Tom Savini effect shot where it slides down his head because it's stuck basically to the side of his eye.
Yeah, that's cool.
Henceforth, Jason is more or less working with one eye. He doesn't have his left eye is out. We know this from part 4. Now, when you're watching Jason Goes to Hell, I believe, and I might be wrong, but memory serves, they got the wrong eye placement. So he's missing, I believe, his right eye in this movie, and he has his left eye, which is incorrect. So it's a little weird for, I guess, this. I mean, how many details about Jason do you really have to get right? Like, all right, you're looking at reference photos from earlier movies, and you're maybe taking liberties with the creative direction, which I'll say now, it is my favorite version of Jason. I think he looks fantastic in this movie. I think Kane Hodder has that signature hunch and stature and that walk. It's very domineering and frightening. So he's got the posture and the body language down. But I also just happen to like, his tattered clothes and his mask. I love how it's just sort of melted literally into his face, and his face is sort of overgrown over it. It's literally become a part of him at this point. So that aside, yeah, it makes you wonder, like, how did they screw that up? It seems like a pretty simple thing to get right.
Well, he's also a vampire in this movie, and a lot of times that you look at him, it's in a mirror when it's somebody else. So are you mistaking the mirror, looking at him in the mirror for the wrong eye?
So not only is Jason a zombie, right, after part 4, because, he gets from the dead in part 6, but you're a vampire, you're saying now, because of the mirror tricks.
Yeah, and also, when he comes back from the dead, he's into the mom's body. So maybe he reincarnated, and the mom had messed up that eye when she had dropped down into the cellar.
You know what? That's a really interesting point, though, because I read that scene differently. And to our listeners, to some context, this is toward the end of the movie. Jason's little critter thing is on the loose. And he comes upon the, what's the character's name again?
Tommy?
No,
the
woman.
Oh, I have her name up here. Just a second.
Like, I can't keep track of any of these people's roles in the movie anymore. But
let me go down here.
What's her relation to Jason? I can't remember.
Oh, niece.
Yeah, niece. Whatever. Jason's demonic monster finds his niece, and there's an off-screen bit of action, and they're sort of alluding to it. And it's like this idea that only through a Voorhees can he be reborn. Now, you're taking it to be that he used her body as a vessel. And I think there's some liberties you can take with that, because it's vague enough to imply that he might have just crawled up her wahoo. And
no, he did.
Yeah.
And Erin Gray hated that. In the documentary, she said that she felt disgusted by seeing that, and she wouldn't have done it.
Oh, it's completely wild. Like, in a movie as wild as this, it is out there. It is very out there. So I guess at any rate, he crawls up the wagyu and becomes his normal, regular, ugly, frightening Jason, which I don't know the logic there. Apparently, that can fit through. I'm not even going to say it. Anyways, you get the idea. It's just very strange.
Oh, yeah, it's very strange. This is a weird movie.
Yeah, and, it's all full of despicable, sleazy characters, I guess, except for Steve, who's kind of a good guy and
kind of a good guy. He's a dang hero.
He's an action hero, and he's a good guy.
And the jerky lady gets her face elbowed in?
Yeah.
The diner lady?
I want to say that she is the same actress as the diner lady in the first Friday the 13th. If you go back and watch the Friday the 13th first movie, there is a sort of portly, redheaded waitress, and she has curly hair just like that lady did. And I want to say that they got her back. I want to say they got her back for this movie, and that this was sort of a fan service thing for the people who liked the first one.
No, I watched a documentary, and I don't remember her saying that.
I might be wrong then, but I do know for a fact that in the first Friday the 13th movie, that diner, or a diner similar, is used, and there is a red, larger woman tending to it. So I was under the impression that might have been a recall. So I could be wrong.
Interesting. You're dropping theories all over the place.
I'm glad you mentioned theories. Because I also want to talk. I think the third act of this movie, and this is saying something, really stacks a lot of wild stuff into it. But I think one thing that fans mostly appreciated was the very non-subtle cameo. And I don't mean the Freddy glove. We'll get to that. I'm talking about the Necronomicon, of course, from Evil Dead. Now, context here. I don't remember who it was, what character comes upon it, but it's given more than a few seconds of screen time. And it's flipped through and thumbed through. And apparently Steve does. Okay, so Steve finds it. And this is in the Voorhees house, right?
Yeah.
And I understand the director said he wanted to suggest, after asking Sam Raimi for permission, of course, that his idea with this, his intent, was to suggest that Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mother, had made a deal, right, to read the book, to bring back her son, sort of a Faustian deal thing. So he's firmly a supernatural being from the start, almost. Like, that's the context I think he wanted to provide. So it's kind of cool because it very firmly fits in the universe of the Deadites and the Evil Dead and Ash, which you can get into the whole Ash versus Friday the 13th Jason stuff because that was done in comics and fan fiction, all that stuff. It was going to happen for a long time, but I think it was just, canned. But I do like that idea of a shared universe, and I think it does actually kind of make sense.
I mean, it absolutely makes sense just to define Jason, right, as who he is.
Oh, precisely.
And I like that the director went to the set, he said, of Army of Darkness. In an interview with MovieWeb.com, he went to the set and talked to them on Army of Darkness set and got the book.
That's right, because I think they were filming like kind of around the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Army of Darkness, I love that movie.
It's a wonderful movie. It's definitely the black sheep, I think. It's definitely more funny than it is scary, but I think it goes full slapstick in a few parts that make it stand out.
So I watched Army of Darkness before I watched the Evil Dead movies. So when I saw the Evil Dead movies, I'm like, this isn't my Ash.
That's so weird. How did that happen? How did you let yourself see that movie first?
One night, I just watched So I Married an Axe Murderer and Army of Darkness back to back.
That is a wild double feature, and I love both movies, but I don't know what you were on that night.
I was a feral kid of the 90s, man. Whatever I could get my hand on, I watched.
That's right. Your listeners may not remember those days. I don't know how old they are median-wise, but back in our day, we had cable, and we were thumbing through, knob channel changers, and we didn't know we were watching.
That's right. I had no supervision, so I was just watching whatever I wanted. And I loved it. So when I saw Ash and he wasn't saying, first you want to kill me, then you want to kiss me, blow. Baby, you got real ugly. Like when he wasn't saying that stuff, I was like, this isn't. Where's my Ash? I did not like
He's almost a neutered, watered down, diluted version. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, what's interesting? I watched the first Evil Dead before the second one. So Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2, and I really liked Evil Dead. And then I watched Evil Dead 2, and I'm like, well, this is just Evil Dead 1, but
all
bigger.
over again, right?
Yeah, and I wasn't as much of a fan of it. So I always rate it as Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2. But Army of Darkness fans just lose their minds when I say that.
I would flip that. And you're right. The majority, the hegemony among horror fans is definitely that Evil Dead 2 is the crowning jewel, which, fine. They definitely remade the first one better in a lot of ways. But I agree. I love the first one. I think the first one has a very just home shot aesthetic to it. It's very grimy, and it's definitely more sincere, and it scares. It's definitely like out to make you a little nervous and frightened, whereas the second one definitely embraces more like balanced comedy tone, which is fine if that's what your bag is. But I agree. I think if we're looking at horror versus comedy, I will very firmly plant myself in the Evil Dead 1 camp.
Yeah, and I also showed it to Megan, my wife. You know Megan. and she's on this podcast, and she loves Evil Dead 1 more than 2 as well, so we're soulmates.
Good to know.
All right, now, speaking of, I know I'm jumping over to something here, but speaking of a weird death horror humor moment in Jason Goes to Hell, there's a scene in a tent where two stock characters are having premarital sex, and the guy...
Wait a minute, do you know they're not married?
Oh, absolutely. And the guy the girl's like, hey, do you have a rubber? And he's like, I'm not wearing that. She comes back, he takes it, throws it outside. Then Jason steps on it.
Right.
And so I watched the DVD I have. It's not the unrated. I just have the DVD. But I just wanted to kind of go through, I watched the Dead Meat clips for these as well. So for 4 and 8, because they really walk through the movie. And I wanted to have a quick refresher before we podcasted without watching the whole movie. But I guess in the unrated cut, holy mackerel. And the funny thing is about these two actors is, I know I'm stepping on your toes, but they were together, then they broke up, then they had to get back together for reshoots.
What? I didn't know that. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, they got together because of the movie, right?
Uh-huh.
And then they broke up, and then they had to come back and do this full nude scene together after they had broken up.
Awkward.
Yeah, exactly. And then that death, holy mackerel.
Oh, that's interesting. I never knew that. So, like, do you know if it was on, like, bad terms, or if they were, like, okay, it just didn't work out or whatever?
They moved in together, and
Ooh.
What happened was he didn't really understand long-distance phone calls, and his family lived in Japan. And so he would make a lot of calls there, and he racked up a $2,000 bill on her phone for long-distance calls. And he wouldn't pay it.
So this is the part where I'm going to say I can believe this because it's in the realm of possibility, but I also know that it's you talking, so I could be completely being fooled here. So I'm just going to go ahead with it.
I just made it up.
Oh, okay. See,
it was good, though.
Totally,
it was good. It was a good bit. It was a good bit.
You had me. See, that was just in the realm of possibility. Anyways, you're right. That is a good kill. So I don't know if you actually got a chance to see it, but for those who are privy to
I did, yeah.
Yeah, the unrated version, it is brutal. So as Mark mentioned, like, you've got this couple who's going at it, and she's writing cowgirl, which I don't think that's too explicit. And as Jason tends to do, sort of interrupts the party during coitus with, what is it that he uses? It's a very steel, sharp object. We don't know exactly what. I think it's like camping equipment, probably, right? It's like something like.
Oh, it was a road sign. It was just like a stop sign in the middle of the woods.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever it was very sharp. And yeah, so he impales the woman through the torso. But that's not enough. This guy's like freaking out. He's reacting to the blood on his chest now. He's like, oh man. He didn't say, oh man, you can use your imagination. And what does Jason do? He, as one does, I guess, after spearing the poor girl, pulls up immediately. So not only in the unrated version do you get the impale, but you get a camera that lingers. I think it's no more than a second. It actually might be even less than a second. But you see her body be torn like paper as one side of her, one shoulder goes right and one shoulder goes left. And it's absolutely brutal. And that's saying something for the series because it's just built on creative, over-the-top kills. I think it's my favorite of the franchise, personally. It's just a shame that it's not seen in the regular version.
It's interesting in the Jason world. So not only is it connected to the Necronomicon, but synapses, or not synapses, but muscles and nerves.
Oh, like
and
sinew.
bones and all of that stuff in our body. We're not normal. People aren't normal human beings in this world, the way they get ripped apart.
Yeah, I don't really know
different.
what bodies should do and what they shouldn't do, but it seems like ragdoll physics in a movie.
Yeah, she got ripped. I saw on the Dead Meat clip, which is worth watching. She just gets destroyed. I mean, just, oh my gosh. And then the guy is just yelling with blood on his face.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And the thing is, what I like is we don't even need to know what happens to him. We know he's dead. But after that, there's no trumping it, right? Like, okay, maybe he gets stabbed, maybe he gets strangled, maybe he gets, maybe Jason takes him by the ankles and bashes his head against a tree, like the old sleeping bag trick. But nothing that comes after that kill trumps that kill. So I think it's smart that they sort of end and cut right where they do.
Another question for you.
Yeah, sure.
So the coroner guy, the medical examiner, eats Jason's heart. Then he captures a cop, ties him naked to a table, sharpens a blade, but he doesn't use any of that. And then instead he passes the demon to him. So how does that guy get out of those straps? Does he just rip him up? And why did he strap the guy down and tie up a blade for him and declothe him?
There's a lot going on in that scene, and it's incredibly homoerotic.
Well, the director said it. The director did all that on purpose. Did you? Have you listened to that documentary?
Yes, I have. Yeah, when Adam Marcus mentions it, and it's been a while, so your memory is going to be better than mine. But you're right. There's a lot to unpack there, and you have the answers. But when I see that, it makes me think that Jason's a little picky with his gloves, right? And I don't know if he necessarily assumes a woman at any time. And if he does, it's very quick. Oh, he tries to at some point. I think he tries to take over the niece, which, whatever. But you're right. He clearly has a preference for guys, which, whatever. And yeah, he clearly has a preference for not having a mustache, which I guess if you're a serial killer, looks are everything. But something tells me that he'd be just as demonic or monstrous with the mustache, if not more so, if you really think about it.
Yeah. And the director reveled in that. He said, all these movies, you just have the women. He's like, I wanted to have both sides in this movie. I didn't want it just to be, all women. And he was loving it. He's like, I can't believe I got away with it. He said he just kind of did what he wanted on this movie. Just kind of crazy.
Oh, that shows. Well, I understand
Not crazy,
that he was
but it's kind of fun that he did it. Like I think it has that personality too because of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely obvious that he had like carte blanche creatively. I know that he was a hotshot out of NYU, and he fled to LA to help Sean Cunningham, and he was like kind of his assistant go-to guy. And I guess Sean gave him the reward of letting him do his thing. And I know Sean Cunningham, of course, for your listeners, he directed the first Friday movie and nothing after that, but he came back to produce this one. So yeah, he hired this guy, Adam Marcus, this 23-year-old. God, it makes me feel so old. To make this movie. And I mean, I give him credit. Like I said, he got creative when this movie series of however many at the time, right? This was ninth. Yeah. So you have that many, and how many of them have an actual story, right? So I appreciate that he tried something different.
All right. And a couple things I want to talk about is that nice kid at the diner gets his hand his wrist popped open.
Right, yeah, his forearm gets torn up.
That's a pretty sweet scene. That's some good effects by Nicotero and his crew.
K&B, yeah. I did like him because he does have that moment where he lets Steve go with Baby, and I'm like, oh, that guy's okay.
And I like the relationship between Steve and the cop. The cop's like, listen, man, I'm going to do everything I can to get you out.
That's what I couldn't understand. I'm like, all right, I get that they're friends, right? But why is he so hot and heavy at getting him out of there? Like, he is not letting up.
And then they get into a pretty good fight, like a funny fight. In my notes, I wrote, there's a funny fight. I like these guys. And then they get into a fight, and then they stop, and then the guy goes, I got a gun. And then Steve goes, F that, I got a gun too. And they're pointing them at each other. It's a funny little bit. There's banter in this movie.
Yeah.
And Steven saves the day 3 times, Adam.
Wait, all right, how many times? Obviously the last part, but what else?
In the first scene, right, he battles... the mom gets killed. She gets a knife in the back by Jason, but he shows up to fight him, right?
Yeah, he tries, and then he gets accused of murder.
And then the police station, he shows up, right? And then the other scene where he takes her out of the house and drives her away. And then the scene at the end where he saves the day 4 times.
I was going to say 3, because that first one doesn't sound like it counts to me, but who's keeping track? Apparently you.
They said they wrote this movie in 4 days.
I always get so bummed when I hear that, like when producers or directors talk about how quickly they get done. Like, I get that because you're on a budget and a timeline, but when you're talking about the writing process, anybody's like, yeah, cranked it out in a week. I'm like, okay, cool. So you didn't really give a whole lot of thought to polish, huh? Or anytime that, like, for instance, not to get off track too much, but like this Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, like, okay, you have really grade A talent. And you have like this opportunity to do something super awesome. And then I hear reports that like, oh yeah, we were just like rewriting the script every day. Like we didn't know what we were going to shoot the day of. I'm like, is that supposed to inspire confidence?
Well, Tom Cruise and Kristen McQuarrie change it up every day. on set if they had something.
That's fair, because that's changing it. That's not writing from scratch. That's not rewriting things entirely.
Well, because that movie, remember when we heard about the Joker movie? Then the next thing I knew, they were filming it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It was very quick.
I mean, and then, I bet you Todd Phillips, it took him a long time to pitch Old School. Hey, I got this idea. These guys go back. They got to do this. Probably pitches it for 2 years, right? He gets to the point.
I don't buy that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, a first movie.
The traditional process,
yeah,
right?
You rarely get your first movie pitched so quickly. But in this movie, he's like, hey, a Joker, let's make a Joker movie. And they're like, yeah, sure. And he's like, oh, crap. And then, hey, we got Joaquin Phoenix. We start on Wednesday. Wait, what?
Right.
And also, there is a couple more things to talk about. I know we're going on a long time. There's a great shower crying scene. And then I also love there's a cop where Jason attacks a police station, and there's a cop that all he does is just drop the F-bomb. He's just like, oh, man. And then he runs away and goes, F that. And he's just running all he just runs away, dropping F-bombs, which...
and I appreciate that it's probably an accurate portrayal of what a normal human being would do after seeing some guy take like 8 slugs and get up. I'd probably be like, well, I guess my job is useless and done here, too.
And smushes his buddies' heads together. And the last thing I want to say is I have a note in here that just says, dude is tough. I was talking about Steven.
Dude, you really love Steven, huh? You standing Steven.
I'm a Steven stan. Because listen, dude, he got a bum deal. I think she kind of left him for this cocky reporter. He probably wasn't going too many places, but he's a good dude. He fights this ultimate evil 4 times, and Kane Hodder speared him through a window. I'm impressed. He and Jack Burton need to start a team.
Oh dear.
What do you think? Him, Ripley from the first Alien.
Okay.
Jack Burton. Who's like the ultimate non-badass, but in action movies being badasses? Does that make sense?
Like John Nada or whatever would probably fit pretty squarely in there.
Oh, Keith David too.
Yeah.
We got to put Frank, John, Steven, Ripley.
Wait, can we use Snake too? Because he's already been used as Jack Burton, or as Kurt Russell's character is all fair game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Snake's been around though. He was in Cleveland before he was in New York.
Oh, you're talking about like people who are in over their head.
Well, like Jack Burton's not. He'll win a bar fight, but he's not winning against lightning.
Sure.
Nada. I mean, well, he's a pretty big badass. But him and Frank, who wins, right? Jack Burton and Steve against Nada and Frank.
Well, it sounds like you've got your next pitch.
Oh my gosh, I'm calling Newsweek.
But who would they fight? Oh, I think I might have the answer.
No, each other.
Well, I was gonna say it would be pretty appropriate if you brought those folks into the ring, because you've got at the end of this movie one of the single greatest cliffhangers in any horror movie ever. And I'll say that because this movie could take the good points where it can. And I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, I'm referring to the famous Freddy Krueger glove that pops out of the ground, of course, to clutch Jason's mask after he's been sent to hell. And I understand that Kane Hodder himself did the honors of playing Freddy's hand wearing the glove. And I guess they got the glove from the first movie, which was pretty cool from Rob Shea at New Line. But that was, of course, to set up the inevitably doomed next movie matchup, which, of course, would not happen for many, many years until Freddy vs. Jason. And even then, it was kind of a non sequitur. It didn't really relate or tie back into that last entry too firmly. But yeah, I do like now that we've established that not only are the Deadites of the Evil Dead universe and the Necronomicon existing with Jason, but we also have finally Freddy Krueger. And that is just, I mean, what more could you want as a horror movie fan, really?
No, I loved it. Good ending. This movie, I tell you, man, it's not good. And
it isn't, no.
And some of the characters, you just want to headbutt. But there's Creighton Duke, there's Steve, there's Freddy. There's that one waitress who gets speared, but she's being a boss with that shotgun. There's the random diner patron who gets shot by buckshot in the unrated cut. So I mean, there's enough to like in this movie. I don't think it's the worst of the franchise. Do you? I'd say 3 is worse than this.
You think 3? The movie where he gets his iconic mask. All right, I'm not remembering a whole else lot. But
Jason
Shelley.
Takes Manhattan.
Shelley is a good character. Okay, yeah. I mean, if we're gonna sip tea about the worst of the franchise, I'm going to go ahead and say either I'm going to say Jason Takes Manhattan or Jason X.
So our next podcast we're doing is Jason X and the remake.
Okay,
Friday
that's
the
right.
13th.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Why do people think the Friday the 13th remake is bad when it's on par with every other Friday the 13th movie?
There's many reasons, but I think it was probably a bit more watered down and diluted than people wanted, and something that was supposed to breathe rather new life into the franchise.
I mean, it goes for it, though. The killer cut?
The first 15, 20 minutes of the movie are pretty great. They are excellent, and we can get into this later on the pod, but I just think that after that many years in a new creative team, I think people were right to expect a little bit more.
Got it. Yeah, because that was a Michael Bay.
Yeah, Platinum Dunes, Michael Bay production, which I can only hope that Blumhouse gets their hands on this someday. I think they'll knock it out of the park.
I fell asleep during the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Well, to that, I would say which one? I feel like they've done a remake, they've done an origin, they've done a prequel to the origin, they've done a sequel to the origin. There are so many modern Texas Chainsaw movies, and the only ones I remember are the Jessica Biel one you're referring to, and the Alex Daddario one, for obvious reasons.
Because of the script. That was actually written by Adam Marcus.
That's right. That's the obvious reason.
Man, that was good.
That's the obvious reason.
We practiced that.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Before we head out, I just want to say one more thing. I showed my students the trailers of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and the remake.
Iconic. Yes.
And they, after the two trailers, just watching the trailers, like, yeah, I used to like that remake, but I don't like it anymore. Because you just watch the trailer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's just so... You start feeling the Texas heat when you watch that movie.
Yeah, that movie, I mean, I talk about the Friday movies having this aesthetic or air of sleaziness and grime and dirt, but boy, there aren't any movies that I can think of off the top of my head that ever can compare to that aesthetic, that real grindhouse feel of the first Texas Chainsaw by Tobe Hooper.
So good. I'm going to show my students, but I'm going to rent out the theater we have. Not like make sure it's open. I'm going to show them in like loud sound.
Oh, they're wonderful.
My students are going to lose their minds. I can't wait. I'm not going to show them these two movies, but I'm glad we got to talk about them. And I don't dislike these movies. At one point while watching these films, I did not regret doing these for a podcast.
Me neither. And I think as kids, maybe teenagers, I know I personally got into them for many reasons, just being a horror fan. But as you age, it's easy to say as you age, you start to mature and can see the faults for what they are. But at the same time, I think I appreciate them more as I age because they are so reflective of the zeitgeist, right? They're not meant to be high art. They're not meant to be anything spectacular. They are exploitation movies through and through. And I think when you look back at stuff that is very firmly married to its time, right, like the 80s heyday of slashers, you're able to sort of appreciate how far we've come, right? So I appreciate it for that reason.
And after working in film for so long and just knowing indie film and studying film, I like the scrappiness of them.
Oh, absolutely.
These are scrappy little movies. They said the last one, the Jason Goes to Hell, was just a bunch of 20-year-olds on the set. And then the fourth one, Zito came back. I mean, that guy directed 3 #1 movies in a row. Oh, no, not in a row. But he did The Prowler, then he did this, he did Missing in Action, Invasion USA. And, I mean, the movies, I don't know, they were scrappy. They had Nicotero,
they
had
were also
Savini.
A little bit of a family affair, too. The Frank Mancuso Jr. was running the show for a while, and it's just like, it sort of did feel like this family tradition. So I think there's that as well.
Cool. Well, this was fun, man. I'm looking forward to Jason X, which is your least favorite. But I got a lot of stuff to say about it.
Well, I'll let you have the floor on that one because, boy, just thinking about that Power Ranger suit gets me all worked up.
Oh, great. Well, this was fun. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Adam, I Don't Eat Bananas, Clement, this is Movies, Film, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.